Hello YouTube, this is Imperfecto. What I'm doing today is showing my collection of Chinese knives. They kind of look like sabenzas. I guess clones is what people may call them, but they're not. They're their own knife. This is Enlan. This is the model number right here. It's the EL-06. It's a black coated blade. The steel is the 9CR18 MOV. Awesome knife. The pivot here is that Chinese triangle type pivot. I haven't been able to find a tool that actually allows me to loosen this or adjust it in any way. I need to find one. I've been looking, I just can't find any. The scales are kind of painted. I don't know what the material is underneath, but this is kind of like a rubberized maybe paint or something. It's the Digicamo. One thing that I don't like about this is the clip. This clip does not go with this tactical type look that they got going on here. It's a liner lock. It has some grip on there, so you can, even with gloves, you can get it to close. It works really well. Holds a really good edge. I've used it some, and it's just still razor sharp. I mean, it's a really good knife, good value. Open pillar construction. Centering is a little bit off, but of course doesn't affect it. It still works good, and of course I can't find the tool to adjust the pivot. Next knife I want to talk about is the Land knife. This is the 910 model, I believe. Let me see here if I can get it to focus. Yeah, it's the GB 910. G10 scales. Good clip. Goes well with the knife. Also, it has this lock right here that's reminiscent of the CRKT knives. It doesn't allow you to move the liner lock over. Of course, this liner on here has no grip on it. The blade does have jimping that goes all the way up this little portion of the spine. Unlike this Enlan, which has just a little bit, which really makes kind of a hot spot right on your thumb, because you're really only focusing on one little spot. But this one kind of covers the whole thumb, which makes it more comfortable. This one, I believe it might be 410 steel. I mean 440 steel, 440C steel. It doesn't say anywhere on the blade what it is, but it has held an edge up really well. It does go dull, but you just give it a little stropping or sharpen and it'll come right back. Beautiful knife. Probably one of the most thickest. It's full liner. G10. Next is my Enlan. Let me see here. It'll focus. EL-02. And this one is an 8CR13 MOV steel. This one has a little bit larger jimping on the back, which is good. Has, of course, that weird Chinese pivot screw. One thing I like about this one also is that it has the Benchmade type lock on it. This is a full G10. It's not textured or anything, but it's kind of a little bit smooth, but it's really feels the hand nice. And this one is somewhat skeletonized inside. I like the look of the clip as well. Fun knife to play with. This is probably the second most carried knife of my Chinese collection that I have. The centering on it is pretty good. Really nice knife. Next is my favorite. Let me see here. The Navy K507 and 440C steel. This, of course, I've had to sharpen quite a bit, restrop, just because it does wear down. But definitely my favorite Chinese knife that I have. Just awesome. It has a G10 scale on this side, steel scale on this side. It's a liner. It's a integral frame lock is what it is. The Chris Reeves frame lock. But awesome knife. Has some little bit of a texturing there, so you can pull it over. The only thing negative I can say about this is that the washers here, one is like nylon, the other one is bronze, I guess. I don't know, but sometimes it's like really easy to open, and other times it just becomes stiff. I don't really know the reason. And the pivot on it is really thin, really thin. It's good for everyday carry, you know, light tasks, things like that, but nothing really that you could take and really beat up. The centering on it is pretty darn good. Well, I guess it's moved over a little bit. I just got to readjust that. But overall, probably my most favorite knife that I have. It's a Sabenza, like, I guess you might say. The next is everyone's favorite, the Sanrenmu. This is tiny, or smaller compared to these other knives. Just put it right there next to this one. You can see how small it is, but works like a charm. It's just an awesome knife. Here's the Sanrenmu, and this here is, let me see if I can get it to focus. It's the 710. I used to have or 7010. I used to have a 710 in this style, and then I had a, and I believe this steel is 8CR13MOB. It's really sharp. This is all steel, of course. The frame lock. I had a black one, and then I had an earlier one that I had that was a 710. I guess later on, and the actual Sanrenmu logo looked a little different. But overall, awesome small gentleman type folder. Has that same look as all the other knives. Just a great knife. Well, that's my Chinese collection, and I just wanted to show it to you all. I really like it. Comment, thumb up if you like it. Let me know. Imperfecto out.